Hey guys and gals, it's Tripl-L and now it's time to talk Little Witch Academia. If you can't tell by my voice, I am really excited about this series. I am really happy. This was great. Oh man, this was such a great episode. It's not my all-time favorite because I still think that the episode with the dead man was a very fun episode. I still think the Susie episode is very interesting, but this one's up there for different reasons, but it's up there. Anyway, this episode is a lore episode. This is the episode where Trigger's telling you like, hey guys, we do have a plan here. This is going to be super serious. And it's like, yeah, Trigger, I'm into it. I can feel this. I like this. This is really cool. This is getting me really invested. This was pretty epic awesome. So I'm really excited about this because this gives us a lot to work with and it gives us a lot to talk about and it gives a lot of people more material to theorize with. And now with this episode, we can confidently say the stakes are very high. Now here is what's up. To preface this before we start getting into all the nice little details and praising the episode and is there anything to criticize in the episode? No, nothing really. Nothing that's jarring given what the series has already given us before. But actually, no, that's a character flaw. Sorry, I got distracted there. We're going to just start this episode with just a quick preface of how I was feeling as we got into this episode because I think that's really valuable because we're coming out of a stretch of really just casual episodes and now this one is suddenly a relatively heavy, serious episode. So this episode started off, we got to see Echo trying out her thing, like doing her little magic restoration, practicing with Ursula, and I thought, okay, cool. And then we saw that she can repair a work of art and it's like, really? Magic isn't useful when you can repair works of art like that? Anyway, not the point. So as I'm seeing that part, I'm like, okay, pretty casual start. And then we get into like Echo's little thing in her bedroom and she's just all down. And then it ultimately turns into Echo going to see Ursula. And from there I'm thinking, oh, excellent. This is going to be a Ursula Echo episode. Like, great. We're going to get some build up between Echo and Ursula. It's going to be good. Maybe we'll find something out about Chariot. We know that Ursula is Chariot. It's going to be a great time. And then as we continue the episode, you know, we transition over to the staff. And man, this is the first time I have loved the staff at that school so much. But they start talking about problems in the world. They did freaking world building finally in this episode. And it's like, what? Are you guys actually going for it? What? Really? Excellent. So they gave us some information that magic is in trouble all around the world. Magic is running out. They talk about a time when they didn't have to rely on the stones. And it's like, yeah, okay, this is a bigger problem than just some random businessman thinking magic's not particularly great. And then we're continuing watching the episode and then they tell us about a group of people that we've never known before, but they're a really big thing. In the 9 old witches, old with O-L-D-E, so again, European spelling, I believe, but not the point. Point is, they gave us those witches, and I'm pretty sure we met one of them at the end of the episode, but they give us the witches, and it's like, yes, this sounds excellent. Oh my god, there's a group like that. These guys look, their helmets or their hats look pretty freaking badass. I can get behind that. Okay, Little Witch Academia, I get it. You've given me the proof that this is gonna have a relatively serious overarching plot. And now I know that I can take you seriously when it comes to your story part, you know, your story portions. And so, as a fan, I'm already pretty happy. And at that point, I'm like, okay, cool. You seem like you're just going to have it just mentioned there because then Diana comes in and Diana's like, hey guys, I kind of want to find out about this particular group of people. And in terms of the scenes, actually, the scenes work really well with each other because they establish the topic and then a character questions the topic and then we get the answer for said topic. And the episode actually follows that kind of pattern. So as the viewer, you're constantly being rewarded because you're being introduced to these ideas and you're getting a solid answer right afterward. But that's just a nice little thing going on in the episode. Regardless, Diana comes in and I'm thinking, okay, now they're hyping up the blue moon. Ursula previously hyped up the blue moon with Echo. That's a special thing. Echo then goes and reads it after getting the information. Overall, at that point, I'm thinking, okay, both Echo and Diana have been prefaced with the information of the blue moon Diana gets a vague hint from the teachers, and Echo gets the hint from her card. Also, before I continue, props to Diana. The girl's a studious girl, man. She deserves to be at the top of the school. Like, you know, this is my opinion, but Diana is very much a misfit in that school along with Echo and the rest, except that Diana's thing is that she's just too good. That's how she doesn't fit in with everyone else. She's just too good. So seeing that Diana is being studious and she's like taking an active role in her own learning, it's like I can respect that. And so we get the setup, and it's a pretty nice dramatic setup because we have a lot of really good lighting. The atmosphere in the episode's really good at that early part, and we're being told, okay, the blue moon's a relatively big deal. Diana's gonna go read up on the witches, and Echo's gonna go do her own thing. I'm thinking, okay, are they gonna run into each other? This is gonna be just a fun little episode where Echo's getting in trouble with Diana, that she goes somewhere she wasn't supposed to when Diana's there. You know, is it gonna be something like that? But then the episode does something very interesting in that it completely kind of shuts out Diana. So Diana's role in this is that she gives us more of the lore, and this is what the episode was doing, right? She starts it and she prefaces the information that she's reading in the book, and she's asking questions, and we find out about a lot of terms, such as the 7 words, or I want to call them the words of power, but you know, just the 7 words. And guys, there's a lot of terms that are being introduced here, and I might mix up one of the words, so I will just use the normal names if I can at any point. Anyway, the thing with Diana at that point is that she gives us a concept, and then we immediately find the answer in Ursula's segment, where she tells us about the words, and she links back to what happened in the first episode, revealing that Echo knows one of the words, and Ursula's doing her thing where she's like, and you know, I will have to tell the truth one day, blah blah blah. You know, that really just hyping things up, like, yeah, this is a really big deal. Again, super exciting, and I love that the series isn't just leaving us dry and hanged out there for it. Now anyway, as we move along, we are now being introduced into the rest of the lore, and up to this point, I'm just recapping what happened in the episode just with my added enthusiasm in it. But overall, I like the way this was executed because it prefaced things and it answered questions that viewers might have within the moment of asking the question. How could I not appreciate that? So I like the episode because it's a bait and switch, because I assumed this was going to be an Echo Diana episode at that point, but the episode showed us wrong, and it showed that it was actually a big lore episode that's just setting up things for the future. We now know that the Shining Rod is a very big deal. We know about the Triskelion and that the power to change the world. We got dropped a lot of names. It's ultimately going to be a very interesting ride now, because we know that there is potentially so much more at stake, and because the episode had that pattern of asking a question and then immediately giving us an answer, we got prefaced with the idea that magic around the world is running out and that something is changing. So already we're at a global scale, so I am pretty confident that Academia is going to be able to match up in what it's setting up, and we're going to see something really cool once we are in the last couple of episodes. Okay, now let's slow down a little bit and let's just talk about the things that are being brought up here. And you know, there's a lot of things like the Shining Rod's importance, actually knowing what's going on with it, the Blue Moon apparition that we then found out was Woodward, or Professor Woodward. I bet she's one of the 9 old witches. She has to be. Some characterization for Echo, and just generally the lore. I was just so really happy about that. But in the lore, right when Echo's ending off, when she's in that weird kind of space with the professor, and we were getting those flashes, I took the liberty of going in the episode and I took out all the frames, and they are now being shown on the screen, various frames. So these are the little still frames that were shown in flashes as Echo was going unconscious, and as you can see, a lot of it's monsters. And then there's a tower. I don't think we've seen a tower before. It's the iconography of one of the images that we saw earlier in the episode. And you know, when it comes to the magical side, the monsters, what does that ultimately mean? One of the more interesting ones in the monsters is that the beings that we've seen helping the witches at the school, like for maintenance, they seem to have rebelled at some point. So that's them. And then there's the questionable snake-like beast that we've also seen Shiny Chariot fight against in the first episode. But the really interesting ones are the last 3 images that I'm putting up on the screen now. One of them is humans rioting, and they seem to be holding Molotov cocktails. So that makes me want to believe that this is relatively late in terms of the timeline. And then we have a picture of a city burning. Again, because you can see the architecture, you can assume this is either modern day or like 1900s and forward. And finally, we have an image of this guy. Now, from his clothing, I want to assume that he is magical to some degree. He must be capable of magic because he has a cloak. But really, there's no way of knowing. And I really don't want to say it's a witch hunter, but that might be a thing. And the thing is, he also looks like Andrew. If you look at his hairstyle, it just has like the evil hair kind of just parted to the side, but it's still very reminiscent of Andrew. So that's all very interesting stuff. The real question is, are these glimpses of the past, future, or both? And a city in flame, you know, it's just, it makes it really difficult, especially with the presence of humans using Molotov cocktails. I don't know when those came into fruition here, or like when chemistry got developed enough for people to know how to make those. But it's going to be very interesting to see how those shots pan out, because that is very important information. So there it is on the screen. Other things I want to talk about. I have to talk about Susie really quick before I forget. I should have started the video off with this. Susie is sketchy as all heck. I've pointed out why I think she's sketchy in the previous episodes, but in this episode, she says something that makes you wonder, is this just a good narrative, or is this Susie letting on that she knows things? Because at the very beginning of the episode, when Echo's down, Susie says these exact words: "Is an apparition coming to life?" You know, she says it in the full context. Oh, Echo's feeling down. What's going to happen next? An apparition's coming to life? And that's exactly what we get in the episode. Man, I even thought as I was watching it on the first run through, I was like, that's a very specific thing for you to say, Susie. And then later on, as we find out, the whole episode's about the blue moon apparition. And it's like, is that just the studio being very smart with foreshadowing? Or is that Susie being very, very shady? You know, like, it's just very questionable, because Susie has currently enough mystery to her character that you can't really be sure. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they said Susie's one of the 9 old ones, you know? I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, now, you know, this episode, it's got a lot of lore bits, and I'm so excited to hear what people are going to be thinking about after this point. But finally, to talk about one last thing in the episode that's really important, and that is Echo's character. You know, overall, this was a character development episode for Echo because she has to affirm some things to herself about hard work and whatnot. But, you know, the blue moon apparition is pretty savage. You know, telling Echo that her future is not going to work out, and like just telling Echo about stuff. And we know that she was being tested after the fact, but it's like at the same time, on Echo's side, Echo says that being like Chariot is more important in her life. And I get it, you know, she's idealistic. She just wants to idolize Chariot. But that rhetoric of wanting to be just like her is ridiculously just, it's kind of gross, you know? Because Echo hasn't individualized herself to this point, but you know that that kind of mentality isn't going to be the mentality that we're going to see in Echo end of series. So her just like chasing after it so wholeheartedly, like she wants to be exactly like Chariot. That's what she wants. You know, it takes away from Echo. And the episode does go to show that this isn't the right way, and Echo ultimately decides that no, like, my failures are my failures. I own them. That's part of me. That's who I am. And so in a way, that's just saying like, yeah, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna be like Chariot, but at the end of the day, it's like she's also retaining that part of herself. So I do think this is gonna become a plot point later on, that comparison with her and Chariot. I really like what Woodward, the professor, did, the apparition did, but those moments with Echo, just, this is part of her character though. This is a understandable character flaw, and I do find it a flaw because the rhetoric's just way too fanatical at that point. But it's also ultimately the passion that stirs her, right? It's the fire that's in her, and it's the fire that's going to propel her forward. And as she goes on this journey, she's going to learn and come into her own skin a little bit better, I feel. But, you know, props Trigger, they tend to do these character development arcs pretty well, so I can respect that. And ultimately, I respect that exchange, even though I personally didn't agree with her rhetoric or I didn't like it, I respect it because I understand this is part of the character and it's consistent with the character. Now let's see, other things that I can just gush about. You know, I love seeing Ursula in a tracksuit. I'm totally into that. That was adorbs. Let's see, other things. Ursula's crow was also adorable. Other things, Diana being competent. Other things, yeah, I can't think of anything else. I feel like I have something else here, but I just can't remember. I'm reading through my notes real quick. No, I think I'll leave it there. That's pretty much all I can think of. There's a lot of things that this episode's giving us, and it's going to be very interesting to see where we go in the future. But guys, leave comments down below. If you want to talk about it, you want to theorize, leave it down below. I will make an effort to answer those comments on time because this is pretty exciting. So I'll try to answer. If you put up a comment today, I'll get to it by tomorrow or the day after. But I will have that conversation with you guys. So guys, thanks for watching, and till next time, I hope you have a great day. Oh man, because this is a great day. What a great episode. Wow.